Hello. Today Liz Truss is presenting her Northern Ireland bill in Parliament. And the problem with Liz Truss, our Foreign Secretary, our current Foreign Secretary, is that she's picking up a tradition which was set up by Theresa May before she became Prime Minister. That is, that messing around with words, playing around with the structure of a sentence, is, in the end, people who oppose this are just going to get tired and they're just going to nod this through. That's the idea that it's like playing some sort of war game with English. And Mrs. May was really the master of this, the master of nothing, playing around with language so that you just get exhausted. This is not politics. This is very bad bureaucracy. And this is a demonstration of exactly why bureaucracy needs to be resisted. Bureaucracy should be our servant, not our master. Now, the EU says that the legislation which Liz Truss is proposing would breach international law by unilaterally changing an international agreement without agreement. In other words, it puts the UK, it puts Liz Truss's plans on a par with what Mr. Putin is doing. Mr. Putin is also breaching international law. I don't see that we can do this and still hold our head up high. Liz Truss, who is she? A preening, lightweight minister who sees herself, for goodness sake, she was posing in a tank pretending to be Mrs. Thatcher. She sees herself as a champion of freedom and a champion of the Belfast Agreement. She is neither. It is absurd. Her speech, listen to her speeches. Her speeches are always platitudinous, sloganizing, and weak. Exactly like her attack, if you remember, on Lavrov. Admittedly, when she's talking about the Belfast Agreement, she doesn't have to stray far into the realm of geography. But just listen, because there she will be attacking weaker members of the opposition because she clearly apes other Conservative ministers who have been accused of bullying. And I think particularly of Mrs. Thatcher. When Mrs. Thatcher visited Russia, she was cornered on Russian television in Red Square back in 1987, and three Russian journalists were poised to humiliate her, and instead she gave them a 45-minute lecture on the failures of Soviet nuclear aggression. And one of the things that she said was, doesn't the bully go for the weak person, not the strong? Well, that is Liz Truss. That is Priti Patel all over. And you can think, if Liz Truss wants to compare herself with Mrs. Thatcher, and I'm sure she does in so many ways, Mrs. Thatcher would have known the difference between the Baltic and the Black Sea. Mrs. Thatcher would have known where Rostov-on-Don was. Liz Truss has been an embarrassment. She has humiliated our country on the international stage, and here she is about to defy Europe. Tony Brenton was a former British ambassador to Moscow, and he wrote a letter to the Times, and he said that her performance with Mr. Lavrov completed the process of making the UK irrelevant. And it was a serious diplomatic disaster, and we would no longer be able to hold our heads up high and resolve the Ukraine crisis. That was his assessment. I'm paraphrasing a little, I'm afraid. But Boris, to his credit, and I don't think we give Boris a lot of credit because we are so overwhelmed by his failures, and those failures are mammoth. But he does have some strengths, and I know I'm going to get slaughtered in the comments section afterwards for saying this, but he does have strengths, and to his credit, he has overturned the impression that Liz Truss gave from that Lavrov meeting, and he has made himself useful. He has made Britain useful to Zelensky. But today, Liz Truss stands poised to undo the Good Friday Agreement, to wobble our relationship not only with the EU but also with the USA, and to demonstrate once again that recited jingoism is no substitute for creativity and intelligence. Her conclusion that the lack of a devolved administration in Northern Ireland, because she wrote a piece about this, I think, yesterday in the Financial Times, the lack of a devolved administration in Northern Ireland is a result of the Northern Ireland Protocol. That may be correct. She may be correct in that, but her solution does not automatically follow. And the current plan that she's got, as she says, to fix the problems, will not fix the problems. If you just look at what the two major parties are saying, Sinn Féin calls the proposals shameful, and the DUP is stalling and is refusing to commit. It simply doesn't look positive. So who is she doing this for? Now, I suggest she's doing it for herself. She's trying to look statesmanlike. Well, that went out of the window when she demonstrated a complete knowledge of basic GCSE-O-level geography. It's as simple as that.